Chapter 483, Encounter. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Jiang Yuochen practiced for 6 days in the internal space of the time and space spinal. His cultivation had reached the final state of the heaven realm, which greatly increased his strength. With his current strength, defeating Pager without the use of space power was no longer a difficult task. I'll go find Blackie and Aoxinian now. Jiang Yuochen closed his eyes and sensed thoroughly. The yin-yang wooden graph had a special relationship with Blackie. At a certain proximity, he could find Blackie using the sense of the yin-yang wooden graph. Jiang Yuochen spotted Blackie's exact location in the nick of time and rushed in that direction. Jiang Yuochen practiced for 6 days in the internal space of the time and space spinal, which was equal to 2 days in the external world. 2 days ago, Red Wish Emissary took Aoxinian to join with Orange Star Emissary. Blackie was chasing closely behind Red Wish Emissary. However, he was ambushed by Orange Star Emissary and 18 Glazed Knights. After a fierce battle, Blackie was defeated. I am supposed to be an extraordinary being, a worthy opponent that should be unstoppable. I can't believe that I was suppressed by these mortals. How shameful. Blackie let out a long sigh. PHHF. The sound of chains colliding rang out. Blackie was bound by a red iron chain from its forelegs to its head. Escaping was impossible. The iron chain had a dragon's pattern and phoenix seal carved into it, around which flowed beams of lightning. That was the Dragon Lock Chain, a holy weapon that was extremely famous. Legend had it that there was a saint in the black market who possessed a flying dragon. The Dragon Lock Chain was supposedly used to shackle the dragon. However, after the dragon died due to old age, the Dragon Lock Chain was left behind. Then, Orange Star Emissary's master entrusted the Dragon Lock Chain to her, which caused Orange Star Emissary to obtain the strongest soldiers. Cut the crap. Lead me to Jiang Yuochen now. Orange Star Emissary moved her hand and infused genuine chi into the Dragon Lock Chain. Suddenly, the Dragon Lock Chain emitted a glaring blot of lightning, which let out a cracking sound and focused its attack on Blackie. Blackie was in such dire pain that he let out a weird scream. Its fur stood up, as did its tail. Deep in its heart, it was thinking, "Little brat, you'll soon discover what the impact of the Dragon Lock Chain is yourself." Of course, he did not dare to say that out loud. Blackie begged, "Oh madam, what's the rush? We are arriving very soon. It's right up ahead, we're getting close." After an hour, Blackie led the people of the Black Market Excellence Hall to the outside of Blackwood Field. Many big black trees could be seen, which made it into an ancient bushy jungle. Every huge tree was entangled by vines. There was algae growing on the roots, while the ground was covered with thick leaves. Orange Star Emissary had looked at the map of the primitive world of the Wood Spirit beforehand. Therefore, she knew where the place was. Blackwood Field. What a cunning cat. How dare you to lead us into the forbidden area, Blackwood Field? You must be eager to die. Her expression became somber. She quickly retrieved her Dragon Lock Chain and dragged Blackie along. Blackie's claws were scratching the ground and, locked up by the Dragon Lock Chain, it was impossible for it to fight Orange Star Emissary. Whoosh! On the ground, there remained 4 long scratch marks, but, in the end, Blackie was still dragged away by Orange Star Emissary. Orange Star Emissary circulated her genuine chi to her palm. She was ready to give a final blow on Blackie's head. Wait. Red Wish Emissary walked from behind. She smiled and said, "Tell the truth quickly, or else this lady will kill you," which is not necessary. Blackie gazed at her and said, "With my identity, there is no need for me to lie to a bunch of mortals. What I said was the truth." Jiang Yuochen really did come to the primitive world of the Wood Spirit. He is deep inside Blackwood Field. Cut the crap. You led us to a dead end. Do you think that we're stupid? Orange Star Emissary eyes flashed an icing air. She circulated genuine chi to her hands once again. The icing air circulated and flowed around her palms. Stupid humans. I had practiced into an immortal body. Your little handprint won't do me any harm. Even every kind of horrible tragedy won't be sufficient enough to kill me. Your palm will only be a tickle to me, said Blackie. Looking at Blackie's proud face, even Red Wish Emissary thought that it was worthy of being punished. She did not stop Orange Star Emissary any longer. Pow! Orange Star Emissary landed a palm on Blackie's head. Blackie screamed and fell to the ground. leaving a deep pit. Its forelegs were stretched out and it did not move anymore. Dead. Red Wish Emissary walked toward Blackie and put a finger on Blackie's neck. She found that the blood in Blackie's body had stopped flowing, losing any aura of life. To be honest, Red Wish Emissary liked the lovable cat quite a lot. Therefore, she sighed when she saw it die on the spot. However, Orange Star Emissary had only treated Blackie like a savage beast and killed it without any hesitation. She said with a cold expression, "This cat was powerful. It not only possessed high intelligence, but was also equipped with extraordinary strength. If the Glazed Knights had not invoked the 9 stars formation flag, controlling it would have been pretty impossible. If we had let it live and fully develop, it would have boosted Jiang Yuochen a lot. So killing it seemed to be the right thing to do." Red Wish Emissary said, "But now that we have killed it, who is going to lead us to Jiang Yuochen? Since Alcyonian is in our hands, Jiang Yuochen will surely appear soon," Orange Star Emissary replied. Orange Star Emissary glanced toward Blackie's dead body. She then flicked her arms and a sound could be heard from the dead body. The dragon lock chain, which had been tangled around Blackie, was retracted into Orange Star Emissary's sleeves, becoming a bracelet. Suddenly, Orange Star Emissary heard some weird sound in her ears. She circulated her genuine chi into her eyes and looked farther away. Orange Star Emissary smirked and said, "Jiang Yuochen is almost here. Receive your orders, Glazed Knights. Prepare the 9 stars formation flag at any time and launch a timed attack at Jiang Yuochen." The 18 Glazed Knights, which were riding on savage beasts, stood in a line and separated themselves into 2 teams. Each team consisted of 9 people who stood behind Orange Star Emissary and Red Star Emissary, respectively. They wore glazed bone armor and were armed with dragon bone spears while holding a flag, imposing a ruthless manner and surely meaning business. After a while, Jiang Yuochen came over and stopped in front of Orange Star Emissary and Red Star Emissary. Red Wish Emissary's hand buckled around Alcyonian's neck, and she said, "Finally you've arrived, Jiang Yuochen. We waited for you for a long time. If you obey the Black Market's order, we shall let your lover go." Jiang Yuochen gazed at Red Wish Emissary and said, "Who told you that she is my lover?" Red Wish Emissary smiled and answered, "All men are the same. They love pretty girls. She can be regarded as the nation's finest girl and, of course, this is not the first time that you're on a rescue mission because of her. Who else would believe that you haven't fallen for her?" Alcyonian felt slightly shy after she heard this and could be seen blushing. Jiang Yuochen replied, "So, have I fallen for you too since you are also one of the nation's finest girls?" Red Wish Emissary showed her white teeth and said in an arousing manner, "If you like me, I'll do what you tell me to do." Jiang Yuochen shook his head and his eyes became fierce. He said, "Release Alcyonian, Red Wish Emissary, and I will grant you your life. Do not force me to murder you." Orange Star Emissary said boldly, "What an arrogant peasant you are, Jiang Yuochen. So, you think that since you are crowned the king of the young generation, you will really be invincible? I have murdered your war pet, just as you will be murdered now. There is only one option for you today, and that is to pledge your loyalty to the Black Market and become our ally." "War pet, Blackie?" Jiang Yuochen asked in confusion. Just as Orange Star Emissary made a sneer, she suddenly felt a chilling sensation on her neck. A cold claw was stealthily placed on her neck. Orange Star Emissary panicked. Just as she intended to turn around, she could feel a sharp pain on her neck once she moved. Blackie's claw had cut Orange Star Emissary's skin on her neck and drops of blood were now visible. "Don't move. Otherwise, once my claw drops down, you can say goodbye to your brain," Blackie said boldly. Orange Star Emissary was frightened and her body was shaking. She was shaking because the war pet, which had been dead, had suddenly been reincarnated. She was frightened because this was the first time for her to feel that death was so close to her. There was no doubt that she would be dead once she moved her body. At the same, Red Wish Emissary saw Blackie, who was behind Orange Star Emissary, and her eyes brightened. "Impossible. The cat did not die. Leave Master Orange Star Emissary alone, you beast." A Glazed Knight rushed forward. He circulated his full body power and pierced out with his dragon bone spear, striking toward the center of Blackie's back. Jiang Yuochen waved his arm and the Abyss Ancient Sword shot out forward like a javelin. It became a beam and pierced through the Glazed Knight's chest from his back. The Glazed Knight shivered and blood continuously spewed out from his mouth. He moved his head down with great difficulty and looked at his chest. A bloody hole as big as a bowl could be seen there. How could it be? The Glazed Knight let out a dry cough and then fell from the savage beast's back. Even Red Wish Emissary and Orange Star Emissary were stunned. The glazed armor was made from the bones of a monk in the 9th change of the Fish Dragon realm. The armor was extremely tough, so how could it not withstand Jiang Yuochen's attack? They did not know that the Abyss Ancient Sword was made up of natural divine iron and it was also a holy weapon, which made its sharpness out of this world. Cutting a layer of the glazed bone armor with that sword was not really difficult. Whoosh! The Abyss Ancient Sword flew around in the air and returned to Jiang Yuochen once again. There was still blood on the sword. Jiang Yuochen said, "Choose now, to live or to die." Red Wish Emissary smiled and said, "Who else besides Jiang Yuochen is capable of doing this? Let's say that I let Alcyonian go and you ask the cat to release Orange Star Emissary. So we are no longer enemies from today and move on our own paths. Deal." Jiang Yuochen moved at lightning speed, appearing beside Red Wish Emissary silently. He reached out 2 fingers to hold on to the arm of Red Wish Emissary and pointed at her meridians and said, "Speaking of conditions, you don't have the right to do that." Red Wish Emissary was astonished. She was barely able to react and Jiang Yuochen was already in front of her holding her arm. How could Jiang Yuochen have become so powerful? At the moment, her wrist was locked tightly by Jiang Yuochen's 2 fingers. A strong power was emitted from Jiang Yuochen's fingers, causing numbness to extend through her arm. Red Wish Emissary was initially holding Alcyonian's hand. However, Jiang Yuochen was now controlling her arm. He moved her hands aside and she then lost control of Alcyonian. The current Jiang Yuochen was no longer somebody that she could go against anymore. Obviously, Jiang Yuochen had broken through to another realm.